Thanks for getting me where I am today, and even if it's maybe not a lot to some people, it's been a lot to me, and thank you very much. You're a great guy. We love you.
Ditto.
Hi, Jim. John Reed, as you know. I want to wish you the best. I hope this isn't the end of your career or your life, that you'll go on and continue to consult, and we still want to have you come up to Cambria and talk to the reporters and maybe teach us how to write something. I wish you the best. I hope you have another 25 years of success in journalism. Thanks. Thanks for everything that you've done for me.
I don't have anything to say. Pass it on.
Oh, jeez.
Go ahead. Let John go.
Okay. Well, hi, Professor Hayes. I'm probably the only alumni or near alumni that got carded at the bar tonight. But I want to thank you for the pleasure that was working with you for a couple of years, and I'm going to miss you next year when I'm running the newspaper. I hope you don't mind your phone ringing in the middle of the night a few times, as it probably will during fall quarter. So thanks very much, and I'll pass the mic on to the next people here.
To you a little earlier, and I just wanted to let you know I wouldn't miss this tribute to you for anything. I had a tough time getting a flight out of Sarajevo, but I told the boss that the war would wait and I would be back. One thing I did want to ask you is, are you professionally represented? If so, I've got a story I'd like to show them. Maybe we can talk later.
Hi, we're so glad to be here. I wouldn't have missed this for anything. Here's Mark.
Well, that was good. Well, I just want to say that I read in the Herald to Hayes that you got a hole-in-one 2 weeks ago. And I want to tell you on camera that I don't believe you, because I wasn't there. But seriously, somebody said today that you are the definition of a mentor, and I think that's true, and I hope you have a great time tonight. You deserve it.
On how the photo that is on the cover of the great, what is it, Hayes Tribune? Herald Hayes, the Herald Hayes, was taken. This was back in about 1980, and some of us in the newsroom created a takeoff on the board game Clue, and we called it Glue. And of course, the game was to find out who killed whom with the pica pole in the newsroom. And among the characters in Clue, of course, is Professor Mustard. So we decided to have Professor Hayes. And among other notable and colorful characters in the building, Wayne Nichols took a picture of Professor Hayes. And that famous shot of him peering over his spectacles was in fact created for the game of Glue, of which I still have the only copy.
I'm on. Hi, Jim. I hope to see you soon, and I'm happy to be here. And hopefully I can get more writing coaching soon. Bye.
Dr. Hayes, I'd just like to say that you influenced me to finally finish my senior project. I did it 2 years after I officially graduated, but I got it done, and I'm always thankful that you made me do that, and I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mr. Hayes. Thank you for everything.
Hi, Mr. Hayes. It's Teresa Mariani from 1985, Mustang Daily. And I wouldn't miss it, and I think you're the greatest teacher I ever had, and that's why I'm here tonight. And Mary Hennessy couldn't make it, but she told me to tell you hello, and you're the greatest teacher. And here, I'm handing off to April Carey.
Hi, Jim. I've got one question for you. What books are you reading right now?
Jim, this is Kathy Lovett Abney. I was your first editor on the Mustang Daily when you came to Cal Poly. Love you lots, and I'm glad to hear you're going to have a really great retirement.
Hi, it's Dale Kern, and I was in class of 70, and I was also in the first class, and I have to tell you that probably I wouldn't be a journalist today if it hadn't been for you. Thanks.
Hi, Jim. It's Vicki Dungan. I was also in this illustrious group here, and my first assignment from you was to make the coffee, and that's the best I've ever done in journalism. Good luck in your retirement.
Mr. Hayes, and I'd like to just congratulate you on many, many years of service. And I'd like to tell you that, you know, you gave me a C on my senior project, The Traveling Tourist, and someone stole my idea, and they're making millions of dollars now, and here I am. So, you know, anyway, I'm passing over to Gwendolyn Sue Dawkins, who's now Gwendolyn Sue Dawkins Franklin.
It's not Sue.
And yeah, it's not Sue.
my favorite professor of all time, and you have been a major influence on my life, and I will never forget you. And the future journalism students are really missing out. You're on.
Jim, I'm at a loss for words. Just want to say best wishes to you in your retirement, and good luck with everything you do. And I'll send you a letter from Tokyo. And Mike, what do you have to say?
Well, I'm at a loss of words also. I guess it would just have to boil down to complete respect and the difference that you made in my career at Cal Poly and how I think about a lot of things in my life. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Thank you.
Dean, just say, first of all, it's really good to see you too. Secondly, I'd like to let Mr. Hayes know that my tenure in my pickup truck in the parking lot while doing my senior project made as big an impact on me as it did on him when he looked at me and said, last time I saw you, you were living in a truck in a parking lot. It did make a big impact on me, and it's really helped me throughout the rest of my career. And I'd like to say thanks a lot, Jim, for being the guy who was tough enough on me to make me get my senior project done. Even tougher than my mom. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Hi, Mr. Hayes. Just wanted to wish you congratulations on your retirement, and I hope you have lots of time for golf and all the fun things that you want to do. And I just want to thank you for all your tough criticism, because I find that now in my job, I get to do a lot of tough criticizing on the people I work with, and it's nice to know that it works. Thanks a lot.
Hi, Jim. This is Jana Credemeyer. I hate to call you Jim because I am always used to calling you Mr. Hayes, but I'm going to say the same thing that I always say to you whenever I talk to you on the phone, and that's, get me a job.
Thank you, Dean. My name's Kevin Falls. I went to Cal Poly. I was a ag major in 1977. I saw Mr. Hayes in one of the campus lounges, and I didn't like his tie. I said, I work at the Village Squire in San Luis Obispo. He goes, hey, I need some shirts. I said, come on down on Saturday and I'll sell you a couple shirts. And so what I did was I sold him a whole outfit, navy blazer, gray slacks, burgundy, and navy tie with a little gold stripe, and he's wearing it tonight. So I'm probably the only non-journalism person here, but I think that the affection is still the same. Good seeing you all, Dave, Dean, Mr. Hayes. Seriously, I love you very much. Bye.
I do this every day for a living, but this one's a little different. I thought of a couple of physical things that you remind me about every so often. One is the glasses and how you used to look over the rim of your glasses without ever actually moving your head, like giving me a look like, you must be kidding me. You've got to think that I am a fool to accept that excuse. And I also like the red markings on my stories I wrote for you. I actually still have them. Went back and looked at a couple the other day, and I remember how much I dreaded getting my stories back from you and the marks that were on them. And I was actually surprised at how many encouraging words you had for me. And the one item that has hit me as a compliment, some people might not see it that way. You wrote, Dave, nice work. You would have been a pretty good print guy. I hope you understand the impact that you had on so many of us and what you did for us. I've told a lot of people when I was coming down here, we've all had a couple of people in our lives, teachers, professors, who were very special, and you were definitely one of them. You're the guy that gave me my journalistic soul, and I appreciate everything you did for me, and I don't know if you understand exactly how much you did for me. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to have learned from one of the greatest.
Poly grads, and it's pleased to see that. I know why you're all here tonight. You were promised free Nishan Habanjian coffee mugs if you showed up. Nishan, are you here somewhere? No, better an autograph. They're not cheap. Now, you have no idea what I'm doing here tonight.
I know, Paul.
Jim, a tribute, and I was #1 in the draft lottery. The recent graduates here know the Vietnam War from their history books. But to us, this was serious stuff. Students for New Action, Paul. Nebraska to work with the Associated Press Wear Editors Group at a state convention. And I should mention, I run the AP operation in Nebraska. The convention ended, and Hayes and I were driving back to Omaha. We stopped off at one of the state's finest steakhouses, a little town called York, Nebraska. Now you got to understand something. You know your reaction when I talked about living in Nebraska. Well, out there in the Cornhusker state, they think of Californians as a bunch of flakes. Mean ones. So of course, they wouldn't let us in the front door. They pushed us around to the back. Appropriately enough, it was the beer garden. And we had to stand in line at a buffet. You remember that?
I do.
Okay. Anyway, it's great to be here from Nebraska tonight. I was told the committee put me up here to speak because I represent the older generation of Jim Hayes students. 1969, fall of 1969. He watched me progress from a shy kid from a small town into an obnoxious, overbearing college newspaper editor. And I think there are a few here that would. And turn into the respected sage of the journalism department. And along the way, we spent a fair amount of time together. When I met Jim, Joshua was a skinny little kid, and Jason and Kelly weren't even twinkles in Jim and Ellen's eyes before he played golf, if that's what you call it, during the bay, and the engine died. Jim couldn't get it started. Fortunately, from my way of thinking, another boat tossed us a tow line before we washed up on the rocks, the breakwater there. But it was the ultimate embarrassment for a consummate sailor like Jim. We glided into the dock, towed behind the other boat, and sort of Jim was, gee, I hope nobody recognizes me. We got back at the dock and we discovered what went wrong. My seat was on top of the gas tank. And in all innocence, I mean, I'm from a little inland town in Southern California. I don't know anything about boats. I had twisted a valve that affects the fuel mixture. I guess the oxygen in the fuel mixture. We never went boating again. I'm still waiting. Those early days at Pauley were plenty different from today. You know, I mentioned the war and the demonstration. I recall lots of yelling and screaming and fighting. And that was just the journalism faculty department meeting. Jim Hayes had some weird ideas then, like involve the students, listen to them, consult with them, bring the real world into the classroom. I think Jim scared the other faculty members a bit. Tenure was an uncertain thing for him. Gone. The fact that all of you are here tonight, some from other states, is testimony to the impact he's had on our lives. In recent years, he's branched off. He's been doing writing coaching. He's worked with reporters and editors at many newspapers, and those reporters and editors are the better for it. He's worked with the Associated Press, and he has his dream contract with the Los Angeles Times. There were people who couldn't make it tonight. I also have a few communications from them I'd like to read. All that I know about feature writing, and that's why I am where I am today, and that's signed Janet Cook. Bureau Chief of the AP in Los Angeles, General Manager of the Associated Press, is the keynote speaker. He thought perhaps he should go there instead of here. Sorry, Jim. The chances of the LA Bureau finding a finer writing coach than the one we've had are only slightly less than the chances of your getting another hole-in-one. I'll give up my quest if you give up yours. Now, I didn't understand this. Jim Hayes, a hole-in-one? Come on, I've been playing golf a long time. But I've been at his house, I saw the plaque, I saw the scorecard. He's the only person I've ever seen in my life that can get a hole-in-one and still not break 100. My first memories of Jim Hayes in the fairway.
Paul represents the kind of older generation of Jim Hayes admirers, and they certainly are legion. I guess I kind of represent a newer generation, having graduated in '90. Let's hear it for later people. Anyone else? All back together again, spanning all kinds of years at Cal Poly, and all of us kind of brought together tonight by our love and respect for one man, Jim Hayes. It kind of reminds me of journalism department banquets past, and as a matter of fact, I think this may be the largest gathering of former winners of the prestigious Betty Betts Kempf Award. The grade I'm proudest of in college, I did manage to pull an A from Mr. Hayes in reporting too. And after finishing 3 days of victory dancing, I was finally brought back down to earth. You know, all I can say is I was very glad to be asked to be a part of this here tonight, and I hope the proceedings go well. I certainly don't have as much prepared material as Paul, so let's get things moving. Let's kick it right off, and I'll turn it back over to Paul here for a second, and hopefully you'll enjoy the program we have prepared for you tonight. Thanks.
I'm how much older than you? Gee.
It's nice to be the one with the East Texas accent, I guess. A lot will be said tonight about Jim as a mentor, but I think he was more than that. It was bad news for the counseling center. I remember one day, early in the 80s, when Jim was being hugged at one of the J banquets, annual banquets, by one of our students, who we can call one of God's most ungainly creatures. She told him he was her dad because her dad did not care about her. It dawned on me suddenly. I'll tell you, Jim, who it was later on. It dawned on me that he had this enormous capacity to find place in his heart for students neglected by their parents, for those unsure of their talents, whether there was any there or not, for those searching their way through life. He was the wise man everybody sought. He was our wise man in residence. When the multitude came to him, eyes, and you know what that means. Those eyes saw through you. You felt caught like Sharon Stone without her underwear. You bared your soul, spilled your guts. Sometimes there was a pat on the head, sometimes just a scolding, but we still wagged our tails. We had been scolded by the master. We went home happy, and there was no need for further counseling. Jim and I have known each other for about 20 years. I remember the times when I would go to his office, he shared with Ed Zucchelli, and us youngish faculty looked up to him for some advice. This was 1980, so. I remember when I took over the advisorship of the Mustang Day around 1981, and he came over to the students there, to the editors, and told them, give him all the respect that you gave me. That on the board there was a picture of Jim Hayes with drawing on it saying escapee from Atascadero Mental Hospital. And I guess I also have to thank him for letting me see my first ex-US Navy Bear Heine. And my last one too. Just in case you're wondering. Stockton, March 1981, the wonderful downtown Holiday Inn. The department in those days did not have that kind of discretionary funds. In the morning, start naked, start shaking. I was sitting on the other bed. Yes, there were two beds. Typing the paper for presentation at the convention, in my shorts, in a little Sears typewriter. I looked over a little bit, just looked. Under proper lighting. if he expects me to have a pissing contest, he can never measure up to a furry Armenian tail. On behalf of the journalism department, its faculty and students would like to present Mr. Jim Hayes. Thank you. I have another to pay tribute to two of our staff members who I think are the most dedicated people I've ever met in my life, Madeline Nix and Dean Klitgard.
Back to the microphone.
You weren't broadcasting.
Come back over to the light, you guys. Oh, yeah.
Katie doesn't bite.
I don't know after the stories I've heard.
Here, come on, I don't need a mic, you can hear me. Okay. This is letters from alumni all
CMC.
over the place. Yes, CMC. Each one, we sent out a letter and a lot of the alumni responded, and that's what's in this book. There's a giant binder in here. And I hope that you have as much fun reading it as I had putting it together.
I can answer them if I want. Take the rest of my life. Well, thank you. Thanks for everything.
They had put together a little message of their own they want read because Jim is now our official 20-week-a-year writing coach, and like everything at the LA Times is sort of done by collaboration. We have about 50 bylines on it. They worked on it for a week to get it this way. Jim, congratulations on your retirement. You yearned it. You was the best writing coach we had. Every day in our proses. Good luck, etc. Your president. Like Steve Cherm, Jim, more than anything, taught me brevity. But I did want to add, as I was thinking of what might be said here. I mean, you go through every day the things journalistically and craft that Jim taught. That it's incredible. 20 years down the pike, what still sticks. My fingers go into an odd form of paralysis when they get ready to type the word local or area. I still always try to put the action ahead of the body. And to clear my mind before every board meeting that you might cover. So Jim, as a journalist, and I think it should be said that I taught a lot. He knew his chops, and he knows them still. But the bigger thing that Jim taught me, and I assume everybody else here, because he was an equal opportunity professor. I came to Cal Poly from Fresno, which is its own fate, if you will, but 17-year-old kid who didn't know much about anything, and some would argue still does not. But I remember the first and the most memorable occasion with Jim was the very first time I met him, and he was in his little office with Ed Zucchelli. Ed was down at the library doing what he did. And it's a silly little thing, but Jim had a copy of Rolling Stone on his desk and was talking about some latest thing that they were writing about. I can't even remember what. What struck me then, and it evolved, and I came to understand better over the years, is what Jim taught. It wasn't what he taught. It wasn't what you learned from Jim. It was that you learned how to learn. The main lesson that Jim Hayes taught as an educator wasn't that it was that questions are better than answers. And to this day, remains probably the most curious person I know. And he attacks everything in life from golf backswings to the craft of journalism as a curious fellow, and it is what makes him so brilliant. And that was the one thing I want to pass on. Thanks.
Up next,
Because I didn't get a chance to prepare anything tonight, fortunately something was delivered in the last couple of minutes. Another short telegram from Steve Chern. I'll give you the abridged version. As one of those who got to spend some serious time up close and personal with Jim Hayes, I share a lot of the same memories that many of you do. A particularly special time for those of us in my class or my generation. I guess the mid-range group was. When we would have a newsroom crisis or a particular period of low morale, with the Reverend, as we called him, fondly and reverently would come into the office and give one of his sermons. And it had almost a mystical bearing on the newsroom staff. It would become very quiet, and Jim would say something and start talking, and a few of us could remember what he said afterwards, but everyone